Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May 1st, 2022. May the 1st be with you. There you go. We did it. We're nerds. But yeah, let's see. No real food corner from last episode to now, really. I will say, um, beverage corner, bevy update, I guess, life thing. I don't know. I went back to Coffee Mate Creamer, not liking it. I was at a Kroger in the morning, doing my stuff, running my errands, um, and I go to get creamer, and they were out of what I wanted. So I was like, all right, I guess I gotta go back to Coffee Mate, which I kind of already knew I wasn't gonna like. But yeah, like it's weird how it just like kind of turns my coffee into like the taste of pencil lead. Very odd. But we sally forth. Got some news, got some updates for you. We can get into it. Um, this is an update in the situation in Myanmar a little bit, at least with Aung Suu Kyi. I got this from Reuters, but Myanmar Suu Kyi handed 5-year jail term for graft, like corruption, things of that nature. Also, apparently, that's like just kind of the tip of the iceberg. The combined amount of the charges that they have against her are like 190 years about. Um, Also, I think the proceedings that went down for this were like there was no press, no nothing. It was like super hyper private. I think the person who even like let out any details about it, like they hid their identity. But essentially, they sat down, took like a few minutes, and yeah, boom, you're going to jail. And she said she's going to appeal, but of course, it still doesn't look really good. Now, also, there's for those who haven't really heard much about the situation in Myanmar, essentially there was like a coup that happened. I want to say was it last year, 2020, but just an overturning of the government. They were like a new democracy, and or they were a democracy they were trying to develop, grow, do that. Didn't really work out in the situation after this coup. This junta has kind of just been in charge, been in power, and one of the first things they did was lock up Aung Suu Kyi. Now, up until this point, she has been like on a house arrest. It's not been determined whether or not that's going to stay that way. See and keep you updated. She also hasn't been able to get like much visitation or anything like that from outside sources. So that's a shame. Hopefully that will change, but who knows? The junta there has definitely been ruling with like an iron fist. Gunning down protesters, doing like more or less mass killings. I've been hearing updates and stuff, kind of throughout the months. People are still resisting, like the people are still fighting back. But that it's like an ongoing thing, and it's definitely hard crackdown, stuff like that. So I wanted to talk about that real quick, cover that. Let's see. Also, there's another update. I got this from NPR. DHS Secretary, Department of Homeland Security, Mayorkas faces a partisan divide over Title 42 and Capitol Hill hearings. Essentially, the Title 42 situation is kind of like a circumvention of the law that they have at the border. And it's also been kind of called the Remain in Mexico, I think, bill law. But essentially, this whole situation was taking migrants who were trying to come through and just immediately kicking them back out. And I mean, we also have like a holding area for them, but like it's filled up. It's at capacity. I think they said it can hold about 32,000 people, but there's like over 200,000, I think, already like reported. So they're just at a maximum, and they were trying to get it lifted. I believe it's set to lift at the end of this month, May 23rd. But there's been pushback, I guess, from judges. Also, Republicans or whatever, are saying like, whoa, what are you doing? And it's kind of weird too, because it seems like Title 42 is really not exactly helpful for keeping out migrants. Like, the situation is there's like an immediate turnaround, and then there's reported cases of people trying like multiple times just to immediately just come back. So I mean, granted, not to say that I want to see people charged and things like that, but it's really funny how like Republican narratives can kind of like latch onto things and go, oh, okay, we're gonna make this seem as bad as possible. We got to make sure that the Biden administration and Democrats look bad as hell, even though both sides are doing the same thing. Like, they are really trying to crack down on, illegal migration, and they always have their reasons, like, oh, what about the drugs, the cartels, yada yada yada. But it's definitely a gross situation. I personally would like to see it lifted because it's just such a weird, like, what is it? I'm trying to think of the word. I'm kind of spacing here. Like, law, bill, change, amendment. And it's like, it's not helping anything. It was there, the idea was there is like a Trump policy, trying to like, help with COVID and containment and yada, yada, yada. But it was just an enforcement law that they wanted to put up to keep immigration out, to keep migrants out. And I mean, it was kind of not set to be there for long, and it's gone on for way too long. So, also, I mean, that's, led to the whole incident that we did cover where they were at the border, like, pretty much trying to whip people away. Like, shit was wild. So, I would like to see less of that as much as we can. Avoid that, please. I'm so sorry for the scratchy voice. I got a little throat thing or something going on. I don't know yet. Hopefully it's nothing major. Let's see. The next article I got it from Reuters. And this is kind of a walk back for me. I kind of was putting the cart before the horse, if you will. The app before the marketplace. I don't know. I'm trying to get nerdy here with the setup. But essentially, let's read the title. Musk gets Twitter for $44 billion to cheers and fears of free speech plan. Essentially, I mean, this is a update from the Musk hostile takeover, if you will. Where I kind of left it off was Twitter saying, okay, we're going to do like a poison pill, quote unquote, and we're going to dilute our stock shares and make it harder for him to buy it out. But I guess there was pushback to that, and or maybe they all just decided, oh wait, he got the money together. He's actually showing us, like, let's just take the money. So he took the money. So essentially it's $44 billion, and he's set to acquire Twitter. Kind of just like that. It's kind of weird. But essentially he has said a lot, things he wants to have happen. In the post, he's also said some like things like just more kind of like poking things, I guess, spread awareness, quote unquote. Like, he posted a picture with the App Store Marketplace, and it had True Social at the top, and then it had like Twitter under it somewhere. I think it was second or whatever. And he's like, True Social is a more downloaded app in the iTunes store or the Apple store, whatever the app store. I'm an Android user, sorry. Like, and he was like posing it like it's like a big deal, and like, of course, I had a bunch of reacts, follows, yada yada yada. He's definitely still active, still tweeting, which makes sense. It's your toy now. You pretty much own it, right? It has also come out, I think, was it Wednesday, that the judge who initially like said, hey, who was the federal judge who more or less set up the whole settlement for the Security and Exchange Commission and the whole what is it, the Twitter babysitter that he has to have from Tesla, and he had to step down. Also, correction, I think I had said a way lower number in the settlement. It actually was $20 million settlement for the whole fraud tweet thing that he did with the whole like 420 private buyout bullshit. Oh, and also, I don't know if I mentioned it too in previous episodes. Elon Musk is going to make Twitter private. So, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. But, I mean, it makes sense because obviously then he would have full control over it. No one's going to tell him what to do with the product. And the idea is I'm going to make the product better with my leadership. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, he said a lot of things that I really doubt he will actually put the effort to make happen. It's obviously noted he has a lot of other ventures. He has SpaceX, he has Tesla. It does kind of just feel like it's a Bezos kind of play where I want to have a news source, a news outlet, and I deem Twitter the best one because it's funky and quirky, just like me. So yeah, interesting news. I kind of got roasted by one of my coworkers because they'll always ask me like, "Oh, what did you cover this week?" And the previous week or whatever, I had said Elon Musk. He's like, "Man, you talk about him a lot, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess I do, huh? I guess I fucking do." But I don't know. That's just a hater in me. At the end of the day, I do I do find this all kind of interesting. What people do with money. Obviously, it's a very interesting discourse among people. What they think about it and what the future of their maybe their favorite social media app is. But yeah. Oh, also I got a little bit of extra help from this other, I don't know what it's called, Mashable India. That was just for the whole judge thing or whatever. For the Security Exchange Commission thing. We can move on now. Let's see. Biden pardons former Secret Service agent and two others. Associated Press. I really do kind of feel like this is like more of a charm campaign from old Joe. With midterms coming up, you got to try to say you did something. So I think he commuted the sentences of 75 other people on top of the three. But there were the big ones were Secret Service agent who was convicted of federal bribery charges. I guess he tried to sell an agency file, like a Secret Service file, and two people were convicted on a drug-related charge, but went on to become pillars of their community. Well, I guess he was in jail. And then apparently, like, in the trial, he had, like, a hung jury one time, and they tried him again, and he was convicted, but, like, the prosecution, like, told people to lie. Like, it was pretty crazy. His name is Abraham Bolden Sr., 86. Which is also kind of sad, too, is, like, the people who are kind of mentioned here were people who had full sentences, more or less, and, like, at the end of it, they'd already been trying to get off of COVID, and then Biden's like, okay, I'll write you off, Jack. So, I guess better late than never, right? But, and then also it's a cruel irony because, like, old crime bill Joe, like, he's definitely been, a person who literally pushed a crime bill that just was doing some draconian shit to minorities. But hey, it be like that. The 90s, what can you say? Let's see, another person was Betty Jo Bogans, 51. She was convicted in 1998 of possession with intent to distribute crack cocaine in Texas. So, I mean, that's pretty wild. But, I mean, once again, it was probably a sentence that was way more severe at the time that it just didn't need to be for what it was. So, there's that. Lastly, not least, we'll get a little international. Really cringy, but got this from the NBC News. It's actually, I think it popped up on my radar. It might have been this weekend. I think I might have heard about it. Yeah, I mean, this story just dropped on NBC today. But UK lawmaker resigns after watching porn in Parliament. So yeah, I think it went down, but he actually resigned this weekend or something. But his name is Neil Parish. He's been a member of Parliament since 2010. And he said he described it as a moment of madness. Neil Parish, 65 years old. But essentially, he says he was looking at tractors. He was trying to look for a tractor website, you understand? And he just fooled around on accident, I guess, clicked the wrong link, I don't know, wrong suggestion on Google. And next thing you know, he's looking at porn. And that's no good. But then there's a second time, you see, and that was his bad. That was deliberate. He said, and that was deliberate, he said. So, I mean, he got caught doing it. I think there was multiple women who noticed it and, like, said something. And then after that, it came out. He wasn't going to resign. I think he was just going to apologize. But I think apparently there is a push because Britain is going to hold local elections May 5th. So they really didn't want any, like, sleaze allegations on their jacket. And they're like, you got to get out of here, bub. And I guess he just said, okay, Roger Wilco. They don't say that in UK, but I don't know, whatever. Also, this article does kind of mention the whole backlash that Boris Johnson went through. I haven't really covered that on the podcast. It's kind of slipped by with the whole Ukraine stuff. But pretty much he got in trouble for partying. And this was during, COVID lockdown at the peak. He, as his administration, set up these, pretty intense lockdown things. Like they were protocols, they were policies. You could get fined, you could get in trouble for breaking them, and people weren't able to see their families. I mean, you were there, you lived through 2020. So essentially, during this whole time, though, there were like a couple of times at least that it was reported and recorded that Boris Johnson and people of his staff were having little work parties, little get-togethers, and one of the big ones was his birthday party, and he stops by, has some cake, yada yada, and more or less he's been trying to play all that fucking down and not make it a big deal. But meanwhile, people of his own party are screaming at him, yelling at him, making fun of him. He's just getting it from the right and the left. Not that I feel bad for him. Boris Johnson's, he's a piece of character, okay? I'll say that much. Tories are interesting. But yeah, so I mean, this is just something that they wanted to dodge in terms of the whole Neil Parish porn madness. But yeah, crazy business. Kind of wanted to end with some levity, even though I will say, obviously, I completely understand if you're a person, male, female, whatever, you see this shit and you're uncomfortable, like, yeah, you should be. That's fine to be uncomfortable and say something about it. Good that they did. Because the shit shouldn't just be some old boys club bullshit. Like, oh, it's this natural stuff. Sorry, he wanted to kill some time. Like, no. That's fucking gross. You didn't have to do that. In fact, it's really weird that, like, because I guess it's like the weird setup of their parliament. Like, I think they were sitting on this, like, known thing called, like, the green bench or something. Yeah. But it's like there's a lot of wait time, a lot of downtime. But that doesn't mean you should be lounging, going to sleep, pulling a Ted Cruz, looking at your Twitter. Like, that shit's weird. It's lame. Don't do that. Do your job. You're making a lot of money, right? But yeah, on that note, we're going to call it an episode. Thanks for sticking by. I'm glad my voice didn't give out, and hopefully my computer doesn't either. I will see you next week. Hopefully, right? Yeah. Till then, though, shill mode, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Any dollar donation is great. Appreciate it. Love it. Helps the cause. $5 gets you into the tier situation where you get a Discord access. You get a shout out. We do that on the podcast, say your name, all that kind of stuff. Let's see, gmail.com/Isaiah News 1 if you want to reach me the other way. And then we got the socials. You can find those. I don't like going through all that rigmarole. But yeah, you guys have a good one. You stay safe. You stay healthy. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. Love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.